tell you what, I'm going to do a quick restart so it'll send out new notifications for everybody since it's been playing for about an hour. So hang tight. I'm going to do a restart. We'll get some new notifications out and we'll get right with it. Hang on. Hello, everybody. It is now time for the 11 o'clock. Hey, Doc, Rick, everybody else, I see I have at least 15. Yeah, I got 18. Somebody's probably over on YouTube. It's cool. Hey, Silver Fox. I got the newest update early. It's amazing. I had already updated the data but I had to wait a little bit. Hey, Josh, for the code update. So here's what we got. It has gotten a little stronger. Go figure. This is the 11 p.m. update from the National Hurricane Center. It's still Cat 1, but now it's 85 mile per hour winds. The pressure has dropped some more from 990 down to 986. Still moving northwest at 13, and that's cool. But I see something that I don't like. And let me get the radar down here. Got to switch monitors here. God, it's a pain in the butt having so many monitors. So this is a really cool looking radar. It's starting to get kind of far away. The radar site is cleared out here in Puerto Rico. But still, it looks good, right? Not quite. And let me show you why. I'll get the right spot here and pause it. Actually, let's pause it right there. And I'll show you what I mean. Now, I like this band. That's a sign that it's getting stronger. But it's only got one. Why? Notice they ain't hardly nothing over in here. It's still what they call east loaded. All the storms are being shoved. They're all being shoved off to the east. I don't like that. Yes, it is a small storm, but look at some of these notches. Notice, it's been another 3 hours since my last broadcast, and the storms still haven't totally encircled that eye. And look at this dry spot. I don't like that. That's dry air. Okay? It's kind of holding it back. It's not going to kill it, but it's holding it back. And I'll show you why. Let me bring GR Earth down here off my other monitor. And watch this scan. Let me zoom in here. Right there. See that eye? I'll do red here. Right there. Now let's do blue. Look at that eye. That's cool. I like that. But watch after I let it scan a little bit more. What happens here? Dry air. That's that band of dry air that I was showing you a minute ago. Feeding right in here. The reason why is this upper level low. It has moved south somewhat. That's we'll do red. Upper level low is about right in there. Okay. Now with that upper level low, everything is getting shoved around it. Hey, Skyward. So it's starting to pull in some of that dry air. Not going to kill it. It's still a small storm and compact. I think it will live through it. The cool thing is, let's look at water vapor. And this is the reason why I say it's not going to kill it. Now remember earlier, let's let this load up all the way. There was some brown up here ahead of it. That's gone. That's partially due to this low, this upper level low. It's been helping pumping some moisture out ahead of this thing. But we still got this dry air down here. And that's getting sucked right in there. That's what's holding it back. Also, this upper level low, it's got a little bit of wind shear. That's what's blowing everything off to the east side. But that's okay. It's got a long ways to go. But it's really nice to see, if you're a weather geek, that this dry air out ahead of it is really disappearing. And that wind shear is going to do the same. I was just looking at a model here a little bit ago. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Now this is the GFS model with the wind shear. And I'll zoom in on it. Here's Dorian. Here's this wind shear. Upper level low. If you could see the arrows, we have winds coming this way and winds going that way around that low. That's what's been kind of blowing it off. You can see as they curl around here. But it's going to beat that. And let me move this ahead. And watch how this thing, the low ends up right over here now. Now this model's not quite up to date because the low is actually further down here by Cuba. But notice all this blue right here. All this blue, no shear. So once it gets out of its shear tonight, then it's not going to get held back. Now, the shear you see right here is what it's generating itself. And there it makes landfall. The GFS is still showing, the northern part of Florida. We'll look at the Euro. I don't think it's been updated yet. Take a look. Here it comes. Notice the path on this. From about right where it is now, kind of goes north-northwest for a little bit. And then this ridge comes into play and it's going to start turning it. And that's what the latest Euro has. And that's where the end of the model is. So, which way is it going to go? Who knows? Now, here's the latest forecast cone as of 11 p.m. Anywhere in this cone. It hasn't really moved a whole lot, but it looks like they extended it further out here in the Gulf. Now, the best guess scenario is this black line. Okay, down the center of the cone. And I had somebody ask me on Zello earlier, and we were discussing, why does this cone get so big? Well, a lot that goes into these models is historical data, historical errors. So it's going to get wider and wider because the further out in time that it gets, there's going to be more and more errors introduced. And that's the reason why the cone is so big at the end and uncertain. Now, Yeah, I pretty much always bank on the European, but I mean, this thing is still a long ways away. You ought to see the European spaghettis. I mean, they're going like all kinds of different directions. So we can't quite go by the euro for when it gets up in here just yet. Just yet. And I'll show you here in a little bit the reason why. So we don't have any more land to worry about. The shear and the dry air is going to fade away. So in this area here, there's nothing going to hold it back. The issue is going to be, it's going to be when it gets up in here. That's going to be the issue. And the reason why is a ridge that's going to build up. Let me switch models. I need to go back to GFS. Let me see where it's at. That's not what I want. Actually, I want to look at the 500 millibar. Where's it at? This might show it here. Let's take a look. Nope, this is not showing it. At this point, the GFS in the first 100 or so miles is right because it's right with the euro and a whole bunch of others. But when it gets up here closer to Florida, I give the euro a higher percentage than the GFS. Now, what I have found out over the last several years, watching the two models, as it gets closer in time and gets closer to Florida, what's going to happen is the GFS will get real close to exactly what the euro says. It did it with Hurricane Barry here a couple of months ago. Still not finding what I'm looking for. And I know it's GFS. God, I'm not seeing it. Okay, here we go. Basically, what's going to happen, and it's really hard to see on this, there's going to be, I'll have to do this in red on here. There's going to be a ridge of high pressure that's going to bloom up. I think I took that too far south. It's going to be more in this area. And actually, by the time Dorian gets up here, this high is going to be most likely off the coast of North or South Carolina. This is not what I'm looking for. Yeah, I don't need to look at the soundings just yet. I'm not seeing what I'm looking for. Almost sounds like a song, don't it? Let me search here because I found it earlier. There we go. Here's this ridge. Dah. Didn't want the sounding. Yeah, everybody from the Florida Keys all the way to North Carolina needs to take this storm very seriously. Now, here you can see Dorian. This is the GFS. Notice this area up in here. That's going to be the ridge. And there's going to be a high that's going to set up in here. That's what's steering that. If you remember the cone, it's coming northwest and then it turns left. That's because of that high. Depending on exactly where that ridge and that high, the strength of it, is going to depend on how this thing steers. The GFS has it coming here. The Euro has it coming down here. So it's still too early to tell, man. But that's the reason why. And this is early yet. So I would say, in my opinion, this whole area right there needs to be aware. Hey, Beck. Good old Becky. That's what I'm seeing so far. We're going to have this ridge with this high pressure. Remember, high pressure rotates this way, clockwise. So that means these winds, and if you look at some of these wind barbs, they're kind of pushing down, but then they start pushing over. So that's what's going to either steer that where this blue line is or where the red line is. The blue line is pretty much what the GFS is showing. The red line is pretty much what the Euro is showing. I'll zoom out here a little bit, and you can see there's, once this loads up, the dry air that was actually on the northwest side is gone for the most part. Yeah, it's kind of going through a waning stage. That eye is still really strong. It's just the storms around it aren't all the way around. And notice on this last scan how it starts to fall apart and then comes back right there. And then it starts to come back. That's that dry air that's getting pushed into it. It's not going to kill it. It's going to get away from it eventually. I'll know a whole lot more in the next, I would say, 18 to 24 hours. But I'm really liking this line of strong storms that's feeding into it over here on the east side. That's the sign of a real healthy tropical storm. But I want to see more over here on the east side. If it can get away from this dry air in this area and feeding into some of these bands here, it's definitely going to get a lot stronger. It gets rid of this upper level low that's up there. Naturally, that's coming in with wind shear like this, and that's what's blowing it sideways. But it's going to get past that. Hey, Southpaw, Raven, and everybody else that's not chatting. Oh, let's see. Depends on what time, what frame I look at, because watch it shrink, and it kind of goes away. Look at this dry, dark area feeding into it right as that eye is collapsing. Right there. And then she falls back. The eye is not very big. I can do a measurement here. And it's roughly about like it was earlier, about 10 miles. About 10 miles across. I wish I could see visible satellite, but I have to wait till tomorrow. I can kind of take a look at a website here, see if it'll let me do it. I'm using quite a bit processor right now. I need some new video cards, but the ones that I want, and I need a pair of them, it's going to be about $1,000. So let's get a visible satellite image. Let it load up. I'm only going to let it load up 12 frames. Only because the more frames I load up, the harder it is on my processor. But you can even see here, towards the end there, that empty slot, that's dry air. So let's stop this. There you can see a nice eye. I can't zoom in anymore with this website, but there you can see the eye. That was earlier. And then that dry slot comes into it. Big difference between there with an eye and there. But that's okay. It's going to go through its phases. It's a small, compact storm. And the one thing about these small storms, for one, they're really hard to predict and forecast because they do things quickly. A small storm can do like it did this morning and just intensify and blow up right into a Cat 1. But then again, it can die just as fast. So it's going to go through its waning. It's just sort of like a little kid. It's crying right now. It'll be happy tomorrow. A large storm, just like I was talking about in my last broadcast, you imagine taking the same engine, 100 horsepower, you stick it in a Volkswagen, go from 0 to 60, then stick it in a big pickup truck, try to go to 0 to 60. The bigger the storm, the more time that it takes to build up the energy. This small storm, it can make really quick blow-ups or die-downs. Let's see if I could pull up, take a look at the lightning in this. It's telling me it's not available. What the heck? Here we go. This is a different lightning overlay. And you can see where most of the lightning is now. It's in this outer band. That's where the most intense thunderstorms is. Where earlier, it was around the core. So there you go. That's the latest information I've got. I can show you the global spaghettis. there is, yeah, there was some hail markers in it earlier. Notice most of these, now these are global. It's all the different models, the CTCI, the Icon, the TAB, the Euro, GFS, a whole bunch of them. And you can see how they're all running together till it gets further out in time. Then they start spreading out. And that's part of the uncertainty of the models. A lot more errors at that point. There's only this one, the TAPD, that's got it turning way north. I don't think it's going to do that because of that high pressure ridge that's going to be moving in. That'll keep that from happening. It's that high pressure with a clockwise circulation is going to steer it west. So that's the reason why all these other models has got it headed right for Florida instead of turning. So that's what I got for my 11 o'clock update. Now, from what I'm seeing, normally there's a 2 a.m. Update. There's not going to be another update until 5 a.m. For some reason, they're not doing the 2 o'clock. I do not believe that any of us is going to be awake at 5 a.m. If I'm still around for the 8 o'clock, because they're every 3 hours, if I'm still around for the 8 o'clock in the morning update, I'll go ahead and do a broadcast. Whether somebody's watching or not, I'll go ahead and put that out there. Yeah, the Euro is showing it going to the Gulf, but remember this: it's got to go over Florida. What's that going to do to it? It's going to really weaken it, and it's going to slow it down as well. How well organized? This is a post over on YouTube, by the way. How strong is it going to be after it goes over Florida and slows down and gets to the Gulf? Now, it will re-strengthen in the Gulf, and it'll probably strengthen faster. And the reason why, the waters in the Gulf are a lot warmer than they are on the east side of Florida. So it'll re-strengthen back up. But then again, you got to remember that high pressure ridge. At one point in the model runs, when the Euro has it in the Gulf and turning towards Alabama, it really slows down. And that's because of the elongated high pressure ridge that's going to be there across the southeast. So it's going to hit that ridge and it's just going to slow way down. Now that's going to be horrible from Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, because it's just going to sit there and rain and rain and rain. So we hope that don't happen. I would like to see it. If it's going to go make a second landfall, get the heck out of there. Turn back northeast, get back over the ocean. So we just got to wait and see. It's way too early. Too much uncertainty when it gets close. Now the models are showing still Cat 3, 115 mile per hour as it approaches. If it goes on the south side of the cone, it'll go towards Miami as a Cat 3. The next line that the models show on the cone, it'll drop down to 90 miles per hour. And that's before it gets all the way across Florida. So just gotta wait a little bit, man. It's way too early. I mean, we're talking several days out. I mean, the soonest at 13 miles per hour is going to be Sunday night, Monday morning. depending on whether it goes north or south. So we got a long time to get this information a lot better and see what it does. So stay tuned, everybody. If I'm awake at 8 a.m., I will do that update. The next update would be 11 in the morning. That's usually when my Meals on Wheels comes. So I might go ahead and do that one. The next one after that should be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll see how things go. I'll try to do it if I can. My body will let me. Then the next one after that, again, will be 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I'll try to do as many of these as I can. I don't want to do a lot of these right off the bat. I want to kind of wait and till it gets a little bit closer to Florida. Then I'll start doing them and staying up, 24, 36, how many hours it takes. I'll start doing them at every update that I can. So, cool, Southpaw. Yeah, they really helped me out. So I'll do as many as I can tomorrow. As it gets closer, I'll do more and more. So stay tuned, everybody. That's all I got for the night. Y'all have a good night, and we'll catch you sometime tomorrow. Have a good evening.